Hi boys and girls, this part of the video or the instructional videos, is going to show you how I created the black and red patterns that you see at the bottom. I didn't do the middle and the top part yet. I'm just showing you how to do it on the bottom, and then you basically just replicate it as you go in those other sections. So go ahead and watch this if you want to attempt it. You don't have to. You can watch it and decide and see if it's too difficult or if you want to try it. Okay, good luck. Okay, boys and girls, I'm watching the video that I'm giving you and I'm a little bit worried that it's really confusing. So I want to draw you a picture so that maybe it makes more sense. So I'm going to draw a few warp threads here. Okay. So when I have a knot, I'm considering this to be over. This is over. So I'm going to go under 2, over 3, and around 4. So I'm going over 3 and then under 4. I'm going to go back over it. So I'm kind of like scooping around it. So since I went over 4, then I got to go under 3. So here I went over, now I'm going under it. Over 2, whereas last time I went under it. And then under the first one, but looping back over it. Okay? And it's going to go under, over, under, and around. Okay? And this is sort of an open version of what I'm doing. In the meantime, I have one over here where I'm kind of sharing this one. So this has blue and it has red on it. These are all red, and then these are going to be all blue. And the one in between them, they share. So here, I'm going to start with blue in the middle here. So I'm going to tie my thread on after I go back over. Okay. And I'm going to go under this one, over. So all of my, from number 4, now I'm going over, under. So I'm going over my even numbers and under my odd numbers. So over, under, over, and then back and going under, over, under, over. Oh, I need to be up here. So in real life, it would line up here. So that I've got red, blue, red, blue. So I'm doing one line and going back. And then I'm doing one line here and going back. And that way I'm alternating the red with the blue. Alternating means going every other. So if this was a straight line, and you were just imagining it going over and under, it would look like this. Red, and then red going back, and then blue, and then blue going back, but not all the way yet. And going back here, having red, and going back. And then I guess the blue has to be up here. And this way. So you're looping, sharing, going back here. Okay, and like looping around so that you're building it up. Once you pat them down, you don't really notice that difference. Okay, and then it leaves kind of that pattern in the middle. Let me just focus it, make sure you guys can see it good. Okay, this pattern right here. So that's what I'm doing. If I only went from here up to here, up to this one. Like, let me show you an example on paper because it's easier to see. If I only did these 3 red and I didn't do that shared one and I just did this blue, then I would have a gap right here. You gotta imagine it on here. It would only go up to here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. It'd only go up to their red, and there'd be that space in between them, and then the blue would start here. So there'd be a gap. So that's why I'm overlapping in between. So it's a little bit difficult. I would maybe, if you were going to do the striping, I would maybe even do like 1/2 and another half instead of doing all of them. And see if you can do that. And then if you do that easily, then maybe you can break it up into smaller pieces. But this is optional. This is just for fun if you want to try it. You absolutely do not have to. You can just stick with this type of, alternating pattern of stripes. Okay? But I wanted to give you guys a better visual too. I'm not sure if this makes sense, but we tried. So hopefully you guys just feel comfortable doing whichever way that you want to do, okay? Because this is hard. So let me get some red, and I don't think I'm going to need too much because I'm doing short bits on each side, okay? So a lot's going to go a long way, and you're going to see what I mean. So first I'm going to start by tying my knot on that first one. So I'm going to put it under, make a loop, and then fold it underneath so that it goes into the loop. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time to make it secure. Okay, you can even try to turn it inward. So I'm going to be sticking this underneath as well. Let me just use my scissor closed so it doesn't cut anything to kind of tuck this under. Actually, I'm going to trim it too, just a little bit. See if I can tuck it down so it's out of the way. Go back there. Okay. So now I'm ready to do this. So don't forget, I'm just doing 3. So I got 3, 3, and 3. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go under the middle one and then over the next one. And then since I'm going over that, I got to go back under it. So you're just going around at the end and then over the middle. I forgot something I wanted to show you. What I want to do is I actually want to do a few of them at a time. Because I believe on the real loom, and I don't know if you guys can do this or if you want to just do it in different sections. On the real loom, they almost like overlap. So let me show you what I mean. So I've got to start doing the black sections at the same time as the red sections. So let me put my my blue thread here. Now this may be tricky for you guys, so do it whichever way is easiest for you, but this is the way that they do it, and this is going to keep your weaving all kind of interlocked together. So I'm going to have my blue here, and it's going to actually go over to this one. It's going to share this, and this is going to share this, I believe. And I'm going to do up to here. So my next red, let me cut this in half. It's so long. My next red's going to go here. On these 3. So make my loop. Fold this under. I can tuck that under later. I'll shorten this blue a little bit, and I can always add to it later. I'm going to add this blue over here. 1, 2, 3. Put this down. And then one last piece of red. So I'm going to leave these all out. Where's my scissors? Oh, they're here. Okay. My left. Alright, so now I'm going to tie this one on here. And I think I'm going to weave each row one at a time, even though I already started that one a little bit. Let me look at it and make sure it's okay. Okay, so I went over, okay, so that's okay. So here, I'm going to go under this one, over the next one, under this one, over the next one, and I'm going to go over to this one. And then I'm going to do that like this, and I'm going to finish it when I come back. This one, I think I'm going to undo so that this goes over one more. And then back. Finish that one, then I come back. And then this one's gonna go the same. Over, so under, over, and then go around to this one. Over and then under, and around and back. And then this one over, I'm going to go underneath. Under, over, under. So I'm going to go over this red one, around and back. I'm going to just let them go down. So they're all kind of hanging down, and then this one's going to go. So when you have the knot, it's considered over, and then go underneath the next one. And then under this one. And then over. And I'm going to leave that. So now I'm just going to finish this and do the next link. So I'm going to go, so I ended under. I'm going to go over this one, under the last one, around, and then back under, because that one's over, under here. So I'm going to go over that one, under the second one. Okay, over the next one. And then I'm going to wait because this needs to come back and overlap. So if I ended on this one, that goes black or blue, red, blue, red, blue, red. This didn't have blue yet, so I'm going to go back with this one. So I'm just going to do that much. So under here, over here, under here, oh my yards. Over the next one, and then I'm going to wrap around this one. So this is the one that we're kind of sharing. I'm going to go back and just tuck it under the next one just to get that finished kind of stitch. We'll call it a stitch. See, now they're linked together. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to go to the next color. So I'm going to go under this one, over this one, and under this next one. Okay, I'm going to do that little loop, come back under, and then pull it down and leave it to do the next stitch. So now I undid this one on red, so now I'm going to do the blue part. I went under that one, so I'm going to go over this next one, under the third one, over fourth, and then around the last one that they share. So under, loop, and then back over, and then under the second one. Okay, so that it, oops, nope, I did it right. So it loops around this one here. Okay, put that thread down, and then I gotta do this one. So I ended under here, I'm gonna go over the middle one, and then under the one that they share. I have red, blue, this is my red. And then I'm gonna go back under the next one here. And then around the one on the end. And then leave it. So now I'm going to go back here, back to the beginning. You go over this one, under the next, over the next, and around this one on the end. So I ended in red, so now I've got blue. I'm going to go back over and just leave it partly done. And put this to the side. And this is ended in blue, so it's ready for red. So I'm going to go over and under and around. Back over, under, rather. And then around here. Okay, so now I want to do my blue stripe all the way across. So I've got to, you know what I think I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to tie off my strings. So I'm going to knot these. So I'm going to make a loop, pull this through, and then put my thread through that to make my knot. Okay, and then I'm going to trim it just a little bit. Put it onto the side. Tie off my blue. Actually, I might use that blue. And tie off my red over here. On this one. Put the thread back through. Pull that. And then I'll leave a little bit of length here, just in case it starts to undo or anything. Put this over here and tie this one as well around the same one. So I took out one stitch because I wanted it to stay on that side. So I made a loop, and then I'm going to put it through one more time. And then hold my work thread down and pull it tight, and use my nail to kind of push it down as I'm pulling up, and then leave a little bit of extra room. This is too short, so I'm going to put that in my scrap pile. Okay, so with my blue, I think I'm going to undo what I started here and continue back. And just go all the way to the end. Go over. So you go around the end, go back. And it's just going to be very, very thin like this. So then I think all I'm gonna do for this one. Let me see. I could probably go again because I'm here going in that direction. So actually, let me do this. Let me continue over that red strand, link on here, and then go back, and then I'll be back where my blue is. Just start my blue, and I've got to see which side it's going to be on. Well, I think I'm going to start everything on the left. So I'm going to go back all the way to the left side of my blue pattern section, which starts here. So here's where I'm going to leave this, tucked inward here. And then I'm going to use this thread to continue a line all the way down to the end here. I'm going to go around this last one and then go over, under, over, under, over, under, and then stop on this one, the one that's shared with the red. And then push it down and go back under one just to close off that edge. All right, so now back to this patterning. Okay, because it has the other half of red, the rest of the blue. And I'll tuck under these at the end, so I'm gonna let those stick out for now. So these are getting short, but I showed you guys how to add length, so we'll leave that as it is. I'm gonna go back and tie my red on. I just realized I've been making a mistake, which is funny because I did notice a mistake in the rug itself. This was supposed to be over one because I added in, I made this only three, but here I made it 4 and here I made it 4 because they shared an extra one. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to fix that. That's going to be a little bit of a blunder, but you know what? That's okay. We're all learning today, even me. All right, I'm going to start it on the left side. So I'm going to start it here on one more over. Okay, let's start with the red. And what I'm just doing is the exact same thing I was doing before. I'm just going from left to right, overlapping red, blue, where they share that same warp thread, and just going back and forth one thread at a time. So I'm basically doing one row all the way across at a time. I just have to switch between 5 different threads. It's a little difficult to keep track of, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. And right here, I was running out of yarn, so I just grabbed another piece, tied them together in a regular knot, and continued with it. And then when the knot came through on the loom, I just poked it down with my scissors to hide it behind the other yarns. So since I'm finished with this part of the pattern, I'm just tying a knot on each of the threads, and then I'm trimming them short, and then I'm going to be starting a new color.